Well, I mentioned earlier about certification. What we do, we review games. We're not interested in the how good the game is. That's for me to decide. But I'm more interested in how good it is in stereoscopic. So whether you could get a pop-out effect, what's your depth of field, what adjustments you can make without getting anomalies on the screen. These are the things we look for. And we advise, we tell the game developers what their result is. Hey, Battlefield X, great game. You got a gold rating. These are the areas of improvement. If you want to take advantage of it, fantastic, but you've been certified. And we're going to actually program your game to our members who are interested in this technology. It won't cost you a thing, because we want the game developers to get involved. And it's very easy from a programming point of view for them to get these benefits. And as we're moving along, I mean, we're getting, I got to tell you, over the past few months, I've got like 150 video games in my room. There's more video game than there is furniture. And we've got a library of games to go by. And as users go to the MTBS website and certifications are revealed, people will either go to the game developer site to see which of their games are certified, or they'll come to our site and they'll know what games to work. So we're working very hard to make stereoscopic an easy technology for consumers. And of course, we're advocating proper programming standards through programming guides and so on. Now, what's changed in 2007? I mentioned earlier about a stereoscopic 3D ecosystem. So what's so special? Excuse me. Well, first off, and I'm sure everyone's been talking about this over dinner and so on, RealD has plans to outfit 800 digital cinema theaters by the end of 2000. Dolby Labs has developed a technology that allows existing movie theaters to keep their existing screens. Only minimal hardware upgrades are needed. Now, why is this important to the gaming industry? Well, I think of things in terms of product life cycles. How does one product interact with another? Well, first, I mentioned earlier, when people think of 3D or stereoscopic, they think of their radios, 2 speakers. Well, if millions of moviegoers are viewing stereoscopic 3D theaters, they will suddenly understand what the technology is about. The game players will know what the technology is about. We are working with the industry to educate the game developers about stereoscopic 3D programming standards. And I assure you, by the way, when 3D movies are very popular, the game developers will know what 3D is about. And finally, the game developers will catch up. They'll release stereoscopic 3D compatible games. From the stereoscopic 3D solution market or the hardware market, they will release products to market. And the likelihood of success will be greatly increased for everyone. And we are working very hard to get over that, forgive the expression, every man for himself. By doing this way we have leverage as an industry and not as independents. Now, we're also, meant to be seen, we're also working, we're actively promoting the benefits of stereoscopic 3D. If you Google us, you'll see all the different work that we've been doing. Again, we've already discussed this point of when the game developers get involved. And more than that, this is actually very interesting. I like to use the word leverage. If you go to our forums, I mentioned earlier, we have about 1,000 registrants. And I also mentioned that game developers are very passionate about this technology, and up to now they've been feeling very frustrated. What we do is we have an advocacy section where our members will actually post in game developer forums or video game forums and ask, hey, is this game certified? Have you had this upcoming game stereoscopic 3D certified? Or they'll call customer service and they'll say, hey, I'd like to know if this game's going to be certified. So we're taking advantage of every member we have, and every member we have is taking advantage of what tools we have to push the technology forward, because I think the industry's been feeling frustrated long enough, and it's time to work around that. Now, let's take a look-see here. So some key points. I'm very much against this every man for himself mentality. I think cooperation between the stereoscopic 3D providers is pivotal. It's required. I mean, the industry cannot survive without it. Let's see here. Okay. We're working hard to push the industry forward. Okay. Now, I'd like to share with you an example. And I think there's a parallel here. My background, actually, before I got into video games, I made a living in continuing medical education. I used to produce educational content for doctors, family medicine. And an interesting market to look at is pharmaceuticals. I mean, they're a very highly competitive, multi-billion-dollar industry. They're very dependent on their proprietary goods. They don't want to give out their secrets. They're dependent on their patents, and yet we all know they make a lot of money. And yet, despite this competitive nature, they work together on continuing medical education. They work together on designing the advertising standards for their products. And they also work together when it comes to public education. So from a stereoscopic point of view, in my opinion, the stereoscopic 3D industry needs to learn from the successes in the business world and join our effort to secure everyone's success and long-term viability.